Hi, everybody. Welcome to How's That Working For You? I'm Bryan Robinson. I'm the shrink.
I'm Monica Parker, and I'm Smarty Pants.
Boy, is she ever. She's whip smart, she's smart whip, and she's brilliant, actually. You're going to see that if you haven't already in the episodes that we do.
Well, thank you. So today, I just want to say that we're going to talk about our mission, which is how's that working for you? For some people, it works great. And then there's for others who just keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And that's not working for them. So hopefully they can learn from a few of our wonderful guests about how that's working for you. And today we have the amazing Laura Robinson, who is more than a triple threat. I don't even know where to begin. You're an actress. You're a writer. You're a songwriter. You're an entrepreneur. You're an inventor. You're a great friend. You are a whole bag of awesome. Hi, Laura.
Hi. Thank you so much.
She's a Jacqueline of all trades.
Oh, I love that.
Hey, Laura. It's good to see you. And by the way, Laura and I are not related, although I've learned to love her and her music and her work. We have the same last name.
So I want to start this lovely conversation by saying at a very young age, you and a partner invented a game which has become synonymous with hanging out in cabins, cottages, and everywhere else so you can play board games called Balderdash. And I mean, if you haven't heard of it, time you did. So my understanding is you made a great deal of money when you were quite young from this. And can you explain what it is to the few people who have not played it for starters?
Of course. Yeah. The game is based on a parlor game that I loved as a child or as a teen, and which was called the dictionary game, where you have to invent phony definitions for strange sounding words, strange real words that you don't know the definition of. And then people get points if someone guesses their phony definition or if they guess the correct definition. So it was originally called Balderdash, the game that lets you laugh, learn, and lie. And it's a really fun game. It's kind of the classic bluffing game. There have been other kind of imitations of it, but that's what Balderdash is. And it's around the world. And I'm really, really proud of it.
I can attest to that because I got to play it one night at a dinner party with you, of all people, the creator. That was really fun.
That was fun.
One of my favorite words has always been whiskerproof, which is, by the way, be careful, a sharp slap upside your head. You have a favorite word. I know, but
haptodysporia. Haptodysporia is an odd sensation felt by certain people when handling peaches or other fuzzy surfaces. So our mutual friend Carol, her husband has this, and if you can literally chase him around his house with the cotton from an aspirin, like a Tylenol bottle.
Anyway, I think it's such a great game, and it never goes out of style. So my question to you is, lots of people have great ideas. Very few people can go from there to being manifestors, and you are the queen of manifesting. So what do you think is the gift that allows you to be the one who knows how to do this? What is that in you?
That's a really good question. I think in a way, if I can go back to the beginning, it was sort of ignorance is bliss. I come back to that a lot in like when I do keynotes in the toy and game world, is I always say, don't be careful not to get too versed in how hard everything is, because I didn't really know how hard it, quote unquote was. And just knew that we had a good idea and just thought, well, let's do it. So there was a little bit of a devil may care, ignorance is bliss kind of just, I think I expected it to do well. And I think that's a good thing. And I'm maybe less risk averse than some, but I think I just sort of keep a little bit of blinders on to the pitfalls and I do the homework to make sure it's a good idea. But I think you have to have a lot of just chutzpah to do it, to tell you the truth, and just kind of, you got to believe in it. You got to believe in yourself.
Yeah, you said something important, and I think everybody ought to hear this and remember that you expected it to do well. And sometimes our expectations manifest. It can be in a positive way or in a negative way. So if we don't really believe in ourselves, then we can't be successful. So I think that's a little gem in what you were saying.
I think it's true that when you first start out, and our belief is so strong that we can do anything, and so that leads me to another question: to try and recreate success in this world or in any world is really difficult, especially when you've had a big hit out of the box. How do you emotionally and contextually deal with that?
That's another good question. And sometimes it takes time. I feel like I was able to do it again with the next game I did, which was Identity Crisis, which turned into a game show called Celebrity Name Game. But there was a lot of tenacity involved in that too, because we shot a big pilot with Craig Ferguson for CBS for a primetime show, and it didn't get picked up. And then another show came out, Hollywood Game Night, that basically was the same idea. And we were just going, how did this happen? But we regrouped and pivoted. So I think I would come back to pivoting is a really good skill to have in your toolbox. We pivoted and went the syndication route and got our show on the air for syndication and did 3 seasons, 180 episodes a season. And that was another. So it's sort of like my friends all say, you know, one week I'll say, yes, we just sold a show. And then a month later, it's like, no, we didn't sell it, but I'm doing another one. Or, you know, we're trying again. So it's sort of not giving up. And don't get me wrong, there have been periods, Monica, you know, where I did kind of give up and had what I called like creative PTSD. But you have to get back up and try again and learn from your mistakes. We learn more from our mistakes than we do from our successes. I learned so much in the process of that about myself. And you got to try again and, you know, make sure you have a good idea, learn from what's wrong with it and pivot.
I love that word pivot, and not giving up and just switching lanes, or I don't know what words you would use, but
yeah, I mean, you can get knocked down and maybe you push to the side, but then you figure out how to get back on the freeway.
Yeah.
I think it's more complicated when, for example, you are an actress. You and I met on a movie starring Kathleen Turner, Burt Reynolds, and Christopher Reeve in his last movie. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So we met on a movie, fell in love as friends very quickly. And so when you have this huge volume of talents, you're a singer, you're a songwriter, you are an actress, you're a game inventor, you're an entrepreneur, you're all of those things. How do you put that into balance so that you are giving the things that, how do you organize what you have to do to sell a piece of you? If that question's muddled, but you know where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I do. And I have to almost hand it back to you, Monica, because you gave me a good piece of advice someone gave you a number of years ago, saying you can't do more than 3 things at once. And that was I really kept that in the top of my head. I don't think I always follow that because I probably have more than 3 on the go right now. But I did narrow the field because otherwise you can end up being a dabbler. Like you can end up sort of half-assing.
Well, you're throwing things against the wall and waiting for something to stick as opposed to putting the work in. And that's definitely true for us who are freelance salespersons, for lack of a better word, whether it's our talent as actors or we're selling ourselves constantly.
How would you guys like to see Laura in action?
I'd love to.
Would you?
Always.
We have a clip. Let's roll that if we would, please.
Now it feels like we're in a big tug of war, and it's a couple of time zones wide. And he's on the end of the rope over there, and I'm here on this other side. But we're both still holding on. So maybe we ain't so wrong. And for sure we're never ever gonna know if all we did was hide. And how can I know that it's his heart that's doing the talking? Cause when I just couldn't say yes or no, it was him that started walking. So I guess I'll be making that midnight flight tonight. Won't be taking no heavy bags, no. I'm traveling light, traveling light, traveling light, traveling light.
That
Is
was,
that not beautiful?
yeah, it was beautiful. As always,
Absolutely.
beautiful.
I loved it.
Another gift of Laura's.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I mean, I think that music, I've sort of always known this, but it really is my heart, and it's the thing I really do want to focus on, and has been a bit on the back burner. Like always cooking, always simmering, and always something going, but never really put front and center. And um, I guess I'm here to say it's never too late to do what really lights you up. And so I'm doing it now. And I've been doing a lot of custom songs that I'm really enjoying doing that, and finding other ways to just serve. You know, when you come down to it, it's not what we get, it's what we give. And we're all here. And I'm sure your audience is going to really resonate with that how do you serve? Like, how do you really give away your talent?
What do you say to people who think it is too late for them to create something?
Well, what is that quote of whether you, how you feel about something is going to make it true. You know, nothing, whether
Yeah.
you believe you can or can't, that's right. So I think you have to work on your belief. And, I've been told a lot. And I think that's what I listen to people where, you know, somebody was like, you can't launch a music career at 35. And then I try to, you know, kind of recommitted at 40. And my lawyer was like, are you nuts? And then 50. And so on. And it's not so much to be, a big star. It's really like, if this is what keeps coming up for me, that it's my favorite thing to do and what really brings me the most joy, then I'm just doing it. I'm doing it. And actually things are falling in my lap now because the frequency is higher and the commitment is higher.
That makes total sense to me. That, you know, this is it, passion. There's no denying passion, and passion spurs creativity. And I think for people who are creative, we're wired that way. And I can't imagine that Picasso or any famous painter had a day when they didn't have to do the thing they loved. And that's what you do. You do the things that you love. We can't help it. I don't think we can help it. It's the air we breathe. That's how I feel about creativity.
I agree. I agree. And it's definitely a driving force and like a heartbeat or something.
I wonder if there was ever something she felt like she couldn't do. Was there ever a big idea that she...
Laura?
Of course.
Is there ever a big idea that you think you can't do? Can't imagine it.
Run for president? I don't know. I mean, and I'm even American. I'm a dual citizen too, but that's almost embarrassing that I can't think of something, but, I have enough with the things that I want to do that I haven't mastered yet. So it's like my brain isn't going that far afield. But probably there were times, I mean, I really would have always loved to have done scripted, you know, to produce movies and all that. And I left that to the experts because my lane ended up being the game show. And I like to sort of stay in that lane so that there's some cohesion and, you know, I've got some track record building. So, but I love that. And I think that would be such a fun, Monica's done it. You've done like movies and, you know, written movies and everything. So that would be something I have. I don't know if I wanted it badly enough or just kind of didn't really focus on it.
You have so many ideas, as you just explained. And I love the lyrics to one of your songs. I listened to it the other day. It's a song that you wrote called "Beautiful Life." It's on your website, and I love the passage from "Beautiful Life." I'm going to read it.
Oh,
in the book of your life, there are so many pages. Your work and your family, all of your stages. Each chapter filled with bright days that are done, but your future's the story that's only begun. What does that mean to you, Laura?
I actually just got chills and it moves me to tears. You know, that was my first commissioned custom song for a friend of mine's husband's 50th. And it just, I don't write, I really now write in cooperation with someone, the source, the divine, you know, my higher kind of writer. And, I love the feeling of that. That I think is what I'm not chasing, but just opening up to more because, it happens. And it's the muse, I guess you would say. And I didn't even realize like, it's fun to go back and look at that and see it for the sort of little golden nugget that one, verse is. So thank you for repeating that. I think I just do it and it comes out and I give them away and then I don't really focus on them anymore.
Yeah, I call it heart speak. It's just like your heart is speaking. Heart
Yes.
speak.
Oh, what a
Yeah.
beautiful, heart speak. That's a great name
Yeah.
for a record, maybe.
I think when you're creative like you are in so many different facets, I think that the muse and when you have muses, which I really believe you have, I think they show up and they guide you. And I know you are a believer in what some would call, I call it Wougie World, but that's me. And that doesn't mean I don't believe. It's just that's what I call it. But you really are a person who taps into alternative. Well, maybe you can explain it better than I am because I'm not doing a great job. But you are so tapped into hearing and getting signals about what you're supposed to be doing. Would that be right?
Yeah, I definitely get I start to hear things now a little bit more. I guess like the technical term is clairaudient, but I think that it's simpler and more complicated than that. But I want to walk more in cooperation with something bigger than me as I'm getting older. And it helps me with anxiety. It helps me with, just day to day stuff that there's so much to do, but I want to carve out this space to be creative. So I really now I can trust, especially with songwriting, that my muse will be there. So like partnering with something, coming down through spirit to me. And I one of my favorite writers, Beth Nelson Chapman, said something to me in a writing workshop once, which was your creator and your critic can't be in the same spotlight at the same time. So I used to write and be thinking, oh, I need to edit that. And now she said, she goes, your critic needs to be there. So you get them a nice chair and a magazine and a cup of tea and put them in the corner and you're right here. You're involved and we're going to call you when we need you. But for the time being, I'm over here creating. And so I love that. It really spoke to me. And when I do this now, when I'm writing, so always happens first thing in the morning. I mean, not always. Lately, it's been happening as soon as I wake up. It's like I kind of write the song in my dream or something. And I wake up and I just trust and start writing and it just comes. And it's a really great feeling of not doing it all alone or using push energy or kind of having to muscle it. I know you feel that way too, Monica, when you're getting into writing your books and just that like hours can go by. And it's like when you're in flow, the time just kind of is timeless. And
I love what you said though about speaking to that critic, because you're right. I'm a writer as well, and
yes, Bryan, of course, so many books.
You can't write and flow if your critic literally gets in your way. And so
I know
many of us use that technique of, okay, I know you're here. I know you're really wanting to help me. You would just sit down for a few minutes, let me do this. Then I'm going to come back to you. I promise. I use that same tool when I'm writing, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and it works.
Course. I know. And you're so prolific with your books. They're amazing. And it's a great tool to have because we need our critics. We need that. And this is what I do. So I write the song and then I'll spend 2 weeks literally tweaking a word a day, or like it takes up a lot of real estate in my brain. Yeah. And I'm always searching for the better way to do it, but you have to get it all out first. And sometimes like that verse you read, I think it just flowed out of me very quickly. That was no editing at all.
Wow.
And that's having trust to know when it's right and leaving it alone.
My daughter always says when I read it, well, I'll play a song for Julia and I'm going to play it for someone. And she said, everyone's going to be crying. And I dust my hands together and say, my work is done. Because I want to make everyone cry, but these are tears of, I was just thinking about this. They're tears of connection and tears of poignancy. It's not tears of like despair. I just sang at my friend's father's funeral and there was not a dry eye, but it was so important to, connect to that loss and the poignancy and the, the heart of it.
I also want to say something about you because
Okay.
I know you so well. And that is that as a woman, you are incredibly generous with sharing your gifts. When people ask you to help, you say yes. You never say no. When, even though you're in the middle of something, you will deliver on the things you say you're going to deliver on. And I think that that is something that needs to be lauded and applauded. You are a friend. And I mean, you're a friend to many. And a friend is also a full-time job.
Yeah.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, it is.
And somehow with all this prolific stuff that you create and do in the world, and you're an amazing partner to your husband and parent to your kids and all of that, you are a friend who says what they're going to do and does it. And that is not something to be taken lightly in this world. And I think that's why so much goodness comes back to you, because I personally appreciate every moment.
I have a parting question.
Oh,
thank you.
Because
Thank
we're running
you.
out of.
Does it have gifts?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It's a gift to our audience. Those who will say I'm not creative, and I'm sure you've heard people say it. I know it's not true, but many people believe that. What would you say to them?
Keep playing. What did you love to do when you were 7? I love to sit in my room and make up songs and try and make myself cry in the mirror. Like my mother's like, oh gosh, she used to call me Sarah Harper instead of Sarah Bernhardt. What did you love to do? I think that people are, I feel bad for the children of this generation because they're not doing interpretive play now. They get phones when they're 8 years old and they miss playing, circus in the backyard with your neighbor. And so I would say, what did you love to do? And I think everybody has something that made them light up when they were children. And there might be a little breadcrumb trail there for people.
That's wonderful.
It's totally right.
Great way to end, and for people to remember to ask that question. And I will be asking that more of myself, and I hope you will too, Monica. And we appreciate you being here today.
Keep on doing everything that you do, because I think you're fantastic.
You're an inspiration. Thank you so much.
Very mutual to you both. Thank you for having me.
Wasn't that wonderful?
She's incredible.
Absolutely incredible. So again, I hope as an audience, you all appreciated this amazing woman, Laura Robinson, and that you will check in with our YouTube channel and check in with us, because we're here and we'll be back.
And you can find Laura on her website.
Yes, you can.
And we will make sure you get that information. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.